Many thanks for staying with us. And of course, if you're just joining in, this is Politics HQ. Now, let's, of course, move to what we will be talking about at this time. And that has to do with a recent development with, of course, within the oil sector in Nigeria. Talking about the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, which is due to receive up to 400,000 barrels per day of Nigerian crude over the next 2 months. The refinery is slated to take delivery of about 24 million barrels of Nigerian supply in October and November as it increasingly turns to local feedstock. Now, the 650,000 BPD plant is expected to receive 13 to 14 shipments out of Nigeria's monthly program of about 50 cargoes. On July 29th, the Federal Executive Council approved a proposal by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu directing the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited to sell crude oil to the Dangote Refinery and other refineries in Nigeria, and of course in naira. Now let's get straight to it. I have my, of course, guest, Dr. Joseph Obele, former chairman of IPMAN. He joins virtually from Rivers State. I also have Lanre Toluhi, a social and political analyst, who is also joining virtually. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Let me start with...
Thank you, Lakmo.
Great.
Thank you for having me.
Dr. Obele. I mean, the sale of crude, in naira, which of course is being proposed by the president. I'd like you to speak on that, particularly the implication of this move on the strength of the Nigerian currency and also the ease, if at all, of doing business, for independent marketers like you and Nigerians as a whole.
Once again, thank you for having me. Greeting from here in Rivers State. Formulation of policies gives us a common knowledge that there might be a single policy that will bring negative effect upon the people. For instance, a good example of that could be the removal of fuel subsidy 29th of May last year when Mr. President said subsidy is gone. It was a policy, and we've now seen the after effect of that policy. So there are some policies also, when coming up, brings reliefs to people, positive impact upon people. I want to put it on record that this policy, as it has just been signed to commence within this week or next week, I think is a positive policy that will see the positive effect of it going forward. The common knowledge or the principles of comparative advantage tells us that there are some certain things you produce within your nation and you have a better price value for it. And one of such is production or cracking or refining of crude oil here within Nigeria. And kudos to our brother, the Africa conglomerate, Alinko Dangote, having established this 19 billion naira refinery within Nigeria. But his challenge was the crude oil contract. Going before now, he has been importing this crude oil from the international market. Hence, the price, he pegged his price. He put the basic factor as his inability to buy from NNPC. So I want to commend Mr. President for his intervention, because I'm aware as a stakeholder, the intervention commenced about 5 weeks ago. Now we are seeing the result of that intervention, that NNPC will be supplying to him 400 barrels of crude oil daily. Now recall that the capacity of the 19 billion naira refinery is put to 650 barrels per day. So getting a stock of 400 barrels per day, that's to say 61% of the stock needed daily will be supplied by NNPC, where he can now further source for 39% of it from any other market. Could be African market or the Asian market or the England market, wherever he chooses to buy the other 39%. But the effect or the impact of this 61% he'll be getting to in naira, I think it will have a great impact on the troublesome, on the worrisome Nigeria inflation and the unemployment index of Nigeria and the hardship in Nigeria. Now, from our analysis, as of today, let's use today's rate, crude oil is selling for about $77 per barrel. So now him buying it in naira, it will be the same naira value equivalent.
Okay.
For example, if it's to do the analysis, ordinarily what you should pay NNPC today, we should multiply $77 by the exchange value, which is 1,600 naira per dollar, and that will give us about 123,000 naira per barrel. That's what we buy from NNPC. But going to the transaction and the analysis, it will not be to the value exact equivalent. Reason because he's getting it direct from NNPC. So the hurdles of passing through or sourcing for dollars, it will be eliminated. The hurdles of using vessel, mother vessel, and baby vessel, importing, bringing this crude oil from the international market, it will be eliminated. And recall, in cost analysis,
all right, Dr. Obele, I know you have a lot to say. I know you have a lot to say because, I mean, we are really constrained, you know, with time. I would like to bring in Lanre. We'll come back to you. I would like to bring in Lanre to also hear his thoughts on this proposal or initiative by the president and what you feel the impact this would have on the ease of doing business and the value of the currency before we now talk about pricing, you know, at the filling stations.
Yeah, thank you, Dapo. Just like Joseph was saying, yeah, there will be a lot of impact. But for me, it's a mixed reaction because there are the pros and the cons in this for me. Because one of the things, kind of the pros, maybe I should first reel out the pros, is that the impact will be very good because it's in the long, because Nigeria is relying solely on our fuel import and all that. So with what is going to be happening with the naira for crude, with the 400,000 barrel per day, yes, he has capacity of 650. But with that, Nigeria government should actually be able to save about, when I did my analysis and all that, we should be able to save about $10 billion annually because we won't be looking for, in terms of foreign exchange, that is good that can improve our this thing. That's good that can improve our foreign reserve and having all that. And that's to create direct employment because a lot of things he needs to do, logistics and all that, he can put all that in getting direct employment. And that should be able to create about almost 10,000 direct employment. If he's doing that, taking 10,000 people out of that, and at the same time too, there will be market price, there will be market stabilization in terms of oil pricing, because you look at it, there are local refineries, we have local refinery coming on board and doing all that. It should actually help us, to help Nigeria as a nation to mitigate the sharp fuel price inflation that we are seeing out there, and the Nigerian people might decide together. And at the same time, it will actually foster investment climate because people can say, okay, is the government policy favorable to people that wants to come invest massively in Nigeria, both internally and externally? So because this policy is actually good, it shows that government are ready and they are ready to take in investors. It's giving them a good way for them to come into this, which is actually a very good thing too. Another thing it does is it gives an added value. There's what kind value addition to oil, crude oil, because we are having the Nigerian crude oil be him not importing crude, which actually was an eyesore to for me. It was appalling to hear that Dangote was importing crude oil in an oil producing nation. And so now him not doing that, it will actually create an additional revenue stream for the Nigerian market and all that. That is the product I'm getting on that. But on the bad side of it, there's a potential for monopolistic market. Like I've had to talk about it. Yes, Dangote is the one doing that, and we are doing that. But there is a big risk that the Dangote Refinery might just become dominant player in this, and they do that. And the other refineries, the 4 refineries we have, which is Pakistan and Oud, the Warri, the Kaduna refineries, they might end up not seeing the light of day. They might end up not being able to come to light, and Dangote will just be the one telling what happens. Lanre, because he will just dominate.
Let me leave you. Let me leave you on that point. I mean, we've gotten the pros that you listed and also the cons. Let me come back to Dr. Obele. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room, which is the price, the pump price. that is what is directly affecting Nigerians. Are we seeing a situation where this old policy initiative and directive will drop the pump price per liter at filling stations? Is there any hope in sight for that?
Okay, like I mentioned, the selling rate of PMS right now in Nigeria is a combination of 7 components. So going by this naira for crude agreement signed between NNPC and Dangote PLC, I am saying 4 among the 7 components will be eliminated, and pricing composition, any cost element that has been eliminated, further cause a reduction to the unit price of any commodity. From analysis, PMS will be selling below 600 naira when this naira for crude oil commences the next few days.
That is from your analysis. That is from your analysis. It should sell, ideally from your analysis, it should sell below 600 naira per liter. Let me come to Lanre. Lanre, do you also think that?
I'm yet to ascertain the actual figure, but it will be far below 600 naira per liter.
So definitely from your analysis, it should come down drastically.
Yes, far below 600 naira per liter.
Okay, let me throw it to Lanre. Lanre, do you see this happening?
About 4 components that constitute the recent buying rate will be eliminated. So that will cause a reduction.
Lanre, do you see that happening?
No, I don't see that happening. Without the government subsidy, it's a global benchmarking, there's a global benchmarking on it, and the refineries, what the refinery would do, it will reduce the reliance on importation of fuel. Local fuel will still align, because it will definitely align with global benchmarking if the government does not provide subsidy. And yes, there might be a little bit of change, there might be a little bit of coming down of price. That if there's enough competition, but because of the monopolistic approach and because of the monopolistic advantage that Dangote might be having, he will want to benchmark his price with international price, with the international market, and it might not really be what we think it will happen. The only way we can we can achieve, or if we want to achieve lower costs of this end product, is if we have the other 4 refineries, which is the Port Harcourt New and Old, Kaduna, and the Warri refineries, except maybe there's another set of private individuals that we need to privatize so that there can be competition, there can be market pull and all that. But with these, I don't really think there will be a significant shift in terms of pricing.
All right, gentlemen, I would have to leave you just for a moment. We need to go on a quick break. When we return, we will pick up. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. This is still Politics HQ on News Central Television. And of course, I still have my guest with me, Dr. Joseph Obele, the former chairman of IPMAN, Rivers State, and Lanre Toluhi, a social and political analyst, both joining virtually. And of course, thank you for staying. Because we might just be going, a while from now, in 30 seconds, let me go to you, Dr. Obele. There are calls for the return of subsidy, even though we know that technically it's back. I would like your take on, if at all, that would have any effect on pricing. I know you said it should drop below 600 with all of this initiative, but do you think that subsidy in any form would be necessary any longer? 30 seconds.
No. Since obviously, when like my fellow guests mentioned, when there is full intensive competition in the sector, I think we may not really need subsidy. Just following the principles of economics, factors of demand and supply, prices will definitely crash on its own naturally. Just a good example is the case of the telecom industry. Before now, this line network we are using, it was people were buying the line for about 30,000-40,000. Today is less than 1,000 naira. So when there is intensive competition, price will drop just naturally. So hence we will encourage competition in the oil and gas downstream sector.
All right, for you, Lanre, 30 seconds.
Just like Papa said, it's about that. But when you say subsidy, I think in a way, Nigeria, if we need subsidy, we need to be holistic and we need to be straightforward with our subsidy. The problem we have is not subsidy in Nigeria. The problem we have is the policy and the shrewdness surrounding the subsidy regime. We really don't know what we are subsidizing. We really don't know what we are using and what we are not using. So if there's going to be subsidy, it needs to be a lot of transparency. There needs to be a lot of transparency in how we do the subsidy.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time on the program. I deeply appreciate, but we need to go. Once again, thank you for your time.